Dream of the Red Chamber Chapter 45.
So let's set the scene for you. It's a rainy day, or at least a quiet, overcast one. Fengji is having this rare moment of peace. She's sitting in her room with her trusted aide, Pinger. They're just chatting. It's calm.
And then invasion.
The cousins arrive. And not just any cousins. You've got Tenchun, who's the sharp, ambitious one, Li Wan, the virtuous eldest widow, and Shichun, the artist. When the literary youth of the house show up in a pack to see the household manager. You know, it's not just a social call.
Oh no, they have an agenda.
And Tenchun takes the lead. She starts with this little flourish, She tells Fengji they've started this poetry club, which sounds lovely. But then she drops this very formal request. She asks Fengji to be the supervisor of the club.
Right, and the term she uses is super bureaucratic. She calls her a monitor, like an imperial censor. She says they need an iron face of justice to make sure no one gets lazy.
Now, be honest. If someone came to you and asked you to be the supervisor of an exclusive club, you'd probably take that as a compliment, right?
For most people, yeah. It sounds prestigious. But this is Fengji we're talking about.
She immediately smells a rat.
Immediately. You have to remember, Fengji is illiterate. She's brilliant, but she doesn't read.
Yeah.
So she knows she has absolutely no business supervising poetry.
I just love her reaction here. She doesn't even pause. She says, I can't write wet or dry verse. Do you want me to just go eat?
Yeah, she knows. She knows if they're inviting her, it's not for her brain.
It's for her wallet.
It's for her purse.
Okay.
And she calls them out on it instantly. She looks at them and this basically says, stop trying to flatter me. You don't want a supervisor.
You want a copper merchant.
A sponsor. A bank.
She deconstructs their entire plan in seconds. She realizes these cousins, they want the lifestyle of the literati, the wine, the snacks, all of it. But their monthly allowances are enough to cover it.
It's a classic problem of the genteel poor. They have the high status, but they don't have the operating capital. And Fengji calls them soft-faced, meaning they're too embarrassed to actually manage the logistics themselves. So they invent this fake title to trap her.
It's a hustle.
Yeah.
And Fengji, she respects the hustle, but she isn't just going to roll over. But then Li Wan, the widow, she tries to laugh it off, and she uses this incredibly famous phrase to describe Fengji.
The crystal heart, glass person.
Which sounds so beautiful, like she's delicate.
It sounds that way, but think about it. Glass and crystal, they're transparent. So Li Wan is saying Fengji sees through everything. But they're also...
You're hard and sharp.
And cold. Exactly. It's a compliment that is absolutely also a warning. She's saying, you're brilliant, but you are sharp enough to cut us, and maybe you lack a little warmth.
Li Wan thinks she's being clever, but Fengji is not interested in metaphors. She decides to do a little forensic accounting right there on the spot. And this is where it gets really interesting for me, because she brings receipts.
This is a total pivot.
Yeah.
She turns on Li Wan and basically says, why are you asking me for money? You're the rich one. She strips away all the polite fiction and just lays out the financial reality of the house.
So let's break down this audit, because the numbers here tell you so much. Fengji starts with Li Wan's base salary, 10 taels of silver a month. Now, just to pause, is that a lot?
Oh, it's significant. I mean, to give you a benchmark, a regular maid in the house might get 1 tael a month. A peasant family outside the walls could probably feed themselves for a year on 20 taels. So, yeah, 10 taels is a solid income.
Okay, so she's already doing fine. But Fengji says that's just the start.
Right. Because Li Wan is a widow with a son, the matriarch took pity on her and doubled her allowance. So she gets another 10 taels.
So she's at 20 taels a month.
Which puts her on the same earning level as the highest-ranking elders in the clan. She is earning a CEO-level salary just for existing.
Double what the other peasants get.
Plus, Fengji points out she was given land inside the garden to collect rent from. So that's passive income. And on top of that, she gets the top share of the year-end bonuses.
Okay, so the income side is stacked. What about her expenses?
Almost zero. And this is Fengji's knockout punch. She points out Li Wan's household is tiny. Just her son, a few servants. And the public account of the main household pays for all her food, her clothes, everything. She has zero overhead.
She is just banking pure profit every single month.
Fengji does the math right there. She estimates Li Wan is sitting on an annual surplus of 400 to 500 taels of silver.
500 taels? That's a fortune. That's buy a house money.
It is. And Fengji's accusation is so stinging. She says, you're sitting on this mountain of silver and you want to squeeze me for your poetry club. She says Li Wan wants to eat until the river is dry and the sea is parched.
She's calling her a miser.
The ultimate miser. But here's the nuance, right? Why is she a miser? Because she's a widow. That money is the only security she has for her son. Fengji spends money to make connections.
Like Juan is hoarding it to survive.
She's playing defense. But she doesn't take this lying down. She fires back with something that cuts way deeper than money. She attacks Fengji's character.
How does she do that?
She laughs, but then she looks at Fengji and says, "It's a good thing you were born a lady of a noble house."
Ooh, that sounds like a compliment, but it is definitely not a compliment.
Not at all. She's basically saying, if you had been born poor, or a man, that sharp tongue and that calculating brain would have made you a villain.
Wow. So you're only acceptable because you're rich.
Exactly. You are ruthless. The only reason you aren't a criminal is because you have money.
Just a devastating takedown of Fengji's personality.
And then she twists the knife by bringing up Pinger.
This is a brilliant move. Pinger is sitting right there. Lakwan pivots to the moral high ground. She reminds everyone of that incident where Fengji, in a drunken fit, actually hit Pinger. Right, the birthday party. That was ugly.
Li Wan drags it right back into the light. She positions herself as the defender of the weak. She says, "I'm fighting against the injustice done to Pinger." It's a master stroke of manipulation.
She's basically saying, you're a bad person, so pay up.
And it works. Fengji, who never apologizes, actually turns to Pinger and says sorry, right there in front of everyone. She says, "Blame it on my lack of virtue when drunk."
Is she being sincere?
It's a performance, but it's a necessary one. Fengji knows she can't win the moral debate, so she just pays the money to make it all go away.
So the deal is finally struck. Fengji agrees to be the copper merchant,
She pledges 50 taels,
which to her is just pocket change. It's the price of peace and quiet.
and she agrees to get the painting supplies for Shi-chan. But notice her management style. She pays, but she refuses to do the work. She says, "I'll send the stuff, but I won't supervise." She buys her way out of the time commitment.
Smart. But there's one loose end. Daiyu, the protagonist, missed the first meeting. They ask Fengji how to punish him.
And I love this detail so much. She doesn't say, make him write extra poems. She says, make him sweep the floors.
It's so grounding. In this world of high art and floating clouds, Fengji is the one saying, grab a broom.
Right. Just highlights that contrast.
Mm-hmm.
She operates in the material world, dirt, money, management. The cousins live in their heads.
So we have this picture of the masters arguing over what is essentially play money, but then the chapter pivots. A visitor arrives who just changes the entire tone of the conversation.
Enter Nanny Lai.
Nanny Lai is a senior servant. She's been with the family for generations, but she comes with news that sounds, frankly, impossible for the time.
Her grandson, Lai Shangrong, has just been selected to be a county magistrate.
Okay, so just to clarify for everyone listening, why is this so shocking? Nanny Lai is a bondservant.
Yes, it was a caste status. You belong to the family. But the Lai family is unique. They managed the Jia household for so long that they became incredibly wealthy themselves. They used that wealth to buy their grandson's freedom, pay for his education, and basically purchase a government post for him.
So the grandson of a servant is now a government official.
It's a massive social leap. It is the ultimate success story.
You would think Nanny Lai would be ecstatic, but she sits down and she gives this speech that is, honestly, it's terrifying. It's not happy at all.
It's incredibly heavy. While Fengji and Li Wan were just joking about 50 taels for a party, Nanny Lai talks about the real cost of success. She says her grandson was molded out of silver.
Molded out of silver. That image really sticks with you.
It implies he isn't even a person anymore. He's a product of investment. It's not just tuition. It's the bribes, the networking, the clothes. It took the family's entire fortune to build him.
And she tells them what she said to him when he got the job. It wasn't congratulations. It was, don't get arrogant.
She told him, "You are still a slave by root." She will not let him forget where he comes from. She knows everyone is watching him, just waiting for him to fail. If he screws up, the whole family could be destroyed.
She tells him he has to be a parent to the people. She says, if you're not honest, heaven will not tolerate it.
It's this desperate plea for integrity. Not because she's a moral saint necessarily, but because she knows how fragile their position is. For people who climbed up from the bottom, one wrong step is the end.
And here's the disconnect that really struck me. How do Fengji and Li Wan, the actual masters, born into power, react to this incredibly profound emotional warning.
They laugh at her.
They laugh.
They completely dismiss it. They tell her she worries too much. They say, he's an official now, you should be happy. Go ride your sedan chair, play cards, and enjoy your life.
They treat her anxiety like it's just a nuisance, like she's being a grumpy old woman.
Because they can't understand it. For them, power is a birthright. It's the air they breathe. They can't imagine a world where heaven will not tolerate a little corruption. They abuse their power every single day.
And nothing bad has happened to them yet. That's the bitter irony, isn't it? Nanny Lai is preaching this strict moral code to her grandson, and she's sitting right in front of Fenji, who is the most arrogant, greedy operator in the entire book.
Precisely. Fengji is at the height of her power here. She's auditing people, handing out cash. She feels invincible. She thinks Nanny Lai's advice is cute, but for other people. But that warning is actually the one she should be listening to.
Joy turns to sorrow.
Exactly. Nanny Lai knows that the higher you climb, the harder the wind blows. Fengji thinks she is the wind. She doesn't realize she's standing on a cliff edge.
Nanny Lai walks into the room, and immediately the social script gets completely flipped.
It really does. Usually servants serve, but here,
What happens?
it's immediate. She walks in, and Pinger, who is a very high-ranking maid, basically Phoenix's chief of staff.
Right, the CEO's top aide.
She immediately rushes to pour tea for Nanny Lai, and Nanny Lai doesn't stand there awkwardly. She sits down.
She sits down, and she even complains a little, right? She says something like, oh, don't make the girl pour it, I'm being overserved.
It's this massive flex of seniority, a huge one.
So why does she have that power?
It's because, you have to understand, Nanny Lai represents the institutional memory of the entire clan.
Yeah.
She nursed the older generation.
She's seen it all.
Literally everything. She fed the people who are now in charge. And because she has that tenure, she feels perfectly comfortable just launching into a lecture.
A lecture about what?
About how the household is raising its children.
And she doesn't hold back, does she? She basically tells Phoenix and the others, you guys are too soft.
Way too soft. She's nostalgic for the good old days of discipline.
Right.
She brings up Baiyu's father, Jia Zhang. Now, in the book's timeline, Jia Zhang is the scary, strict father figure, right? Everyone's afraid of him. But Nanny Lai remembers when he was the kid getting beaten by his father.
There's that quote she uses about the grandfather of the East Mansion. She says when he interrogated his sons, he treated them like thieves.
Like thieves. That is the standard she's holding up. She's saying, back in my day, authority was absolute and terrifying.
And now?
Now you have these younger masters like Jia Zhen who are strict with their own sons but live these loose, chaotic lives themselves. She calls out the hypocrisy directly.
That takes guts. To look at the people who technically own you and say, you aren't setting a good example.
It does. But it also highlights her unique position. She isn't just a servant. She's a matriarch in her own right.
And the source material gives us this incredible detail about her own social mobility.
Yeah, her grandson has just been selected for a government post.
This was the part that just blew my mind. She is a servant, but she is planning a party to celebrate this appointment that sounds like something a royal would throw.
3 days. It's a 3-day rager.
No way.
Day 1 for the inner family, the old lady and the wives.
Yeah.
Day 2 for male officials. And day 3 for her own circle, the servants and friends. We see Nanny Lai as this figure of immense respect and power. But then we see her put that power to use in a very specific HR crisis.
The case of Zhu Rui's son.
Yes, this is where the rubber meets the road.
Okay, so set the scene for us. Phoenix is the manager. She is ruthless. And she wants to fire this guy. What did he do?
Well, it was Phoenix's birthday, a high-stress, high-visibility day.
Right.
And Zhu Rui's son, who works in the household, decided to get drunk early.
Bad start.
It gets worse.
Yeah.
He didn't deliver the gifts he was supposed to. He started cursing at people. And this is the detail that really paints the picture.
The buns.
He spilled a box of steamed buns, mantou, all over the courtyard.
Just buns everywhere.
It's a slapstick disaster, but in a ceremonial setting, it's a massive loss of face. It's pure disorder.
So Phoenix is furious.
Furious. She says, get rid of him. I don't want him in either of the 2 mansions.
Which in modern terms is you're fired and you're blacklisted from the industry.
Absolutely. But then Nanny Lai steps in. And this is fascinating. She doesn't defend the boy.
She doesn't.
Not at all. She doesn't say, oh, he made a mistake, forgive him. She agrees he's a turtle egg, a scoundrel.
She calls him a Wangba Gaozi, right? A total scumbag.
Right. But she says, you cannot fire him.
Why? I mean, if he's a scumbag who spills buns on the CEO's birthday, why keep him?
Because of who his mother is. He's the son of Zhu Rui's wife.
And who is she?
And Zhu Rui's wife is Madame Wang's accompanying house, her dowry servant.
Ah, okay. Well, let's unpack that term, dowry servant. This isn't just a job title.
No, this is structural. When a noble woman married into the Jia family, she brought her own team. These people are her personal staff, her loyalists.
So if Phoenix fires the son of Madame Wang's top loyalist,
She is disrespecting Madame Wang.
it's political suicide. You're attacking your boss's support staff.
It's a direct insult. Danny Lai frames it perfectly. She says, if you fire him, Madame Wang loses face. Do it for her sake, not his.
So what's the compromise? Because you can't just let him get away with it. That sends a bad message, too.
The HR solution, feudal style. Nanny Lai suggests physical punishment.
Which is?
40 lashes.
40 lashes. That sounds way worse than being fired.
In our context, yes. But in that context, keeping the position is everything.
So what's the deal?
He gets 40 lashes and a ban on alcohol. He pays the price physically, but the political alliance remains intact.
And Phoenix, does she fight it at all?
She accepts it immediately, in a split second. She realizes Nanny Lai is right.
It's all about the hierarchy.
The hierarchy is rigid, but it's also delicate. You have to punish the behavior without severing the political alliance.
It's amazing how fast Phoenix pivots. She goes from destroy him to, okay, 40 lashes, moving on. It shows that face isn't just about vanity.
No, it's the currency that keeps the organization running.
It's everything.
Precisely. If you break the chain of command, the whole thing falls apart. And that really concludes our look at the outer management. It's loud, it's violent, and involves thousands of silver. But now, the source material just shifts gears completely.
Right. We leave the bustling, high-stress world of the management office where people are getting lashed and lectured, and we move into the garden. The tone just shifts completely here.
It really does. The source material describes the season changing. It's autumn. The weather is cooling down. Nights are getting longer.
And we zoom in on Lin Daiyu.
Yes. And things are not going well for her.
No.
Daiyu is the tragic heroine of the novel. And here we see her in a very, very vulnerable state. Her cough has returned, worse than before.
She's isolating herself.
She is. She's bored with visitors. She feels weak. It's a very claustrophobic atmosphere.
And then her rival, Shuba Chai, comes to visit. Now, for those listening who don't know the lore, these two are usually pitted against each other. Daiyu is the brilliant, emotional rebel. Bao Chai is the sensible, conformist beauty.
Right. They're total opposites. And usually, Daiyu is very defensive around Bao Chai.
But this time is different.
This time is different. Bao Chai starts by sort of playing doctor. She looks at Daiyu's prescription and critiques it.
She's like a WebMD warrior from the 18th century. She says, this medicine is no good.
Pretty much, she says, it's too hot. The doctors have her on ginseng and cinnamon.
Okay.
In traditional Chinese medicine, if you are already frail and have a fire in you, from illness like S, a consumptive fever, adding more heat can be damaging, Bao Chai argues it's burning her out.
So what does she suggest instead?
Food therapy. She recommends bird's nest porjianwo, cooked with rock sugar.
And the logic is?
She says it will calm the liver and strengthen the stomach.
It just sounds so much gentler than the harsh medicine.
And that's the key. She's offering nourishment, not just a cure. And this small act of care triggers something massive in Daiyu.
This is the moment. This is the hidden evil confession.
It's shocking. Daiyu looks at Bao Chai and admits, I used to think you had hidden evil in your heart.
Oh.
The phrase in the text is a kind gene. It implies treachery, a knife behind a smile.
That is a heavy thing to tell someone to their face. I thought you were a villain.
It is, and she explains why. There was a previous incident where Bao Chai caught Daiyu reading romance novels, mixed books, which was a big no-no for proper ladies.
And Bao Chai scolded her.
She did. Daiyu thought it was malice.
Yeah.
But now she realizes Bao Chai was protecting her reputation. She wasn't judging, she was guarding.
And this opens the floodgates. Daiyu just lays her soul bare. She talks about her insecurity in the house.
This is where the transcript becomes heartbreaking. Daiyu reminds us, she is an orphan.
Right.
Her parents are dead. She has no siblings. She is living in the Jia household on charity.
She mentions the servants, too. She calls them petty people.
She's terrified of them. She knows that they gossip. She's paranoid that they are counting every penny spent on her medicine and ginseng.
She feels like a burden.
Completely. She says, I am one person eating and using their things with no one to back me up.
It really reframes her character. She's not just being difficult or moody. She's terrified. She's navigating this shark tank without a safety net.
Exactly. And she admits to Bao Chai, I rejected your kindness in the past because of my own pride.
She thought Bao Chai was laughing at her.
Right. But now she sees the sincerity.
And how does Bao Chai respond? Because this is the moment where she could have gloated. She could have said, I told you so.
She does the opposite. She
Yeah.
validates Daiyu completely. She says, I am the same.
Which is surprising because Bao Chai has a mother and a brother. She has money.
True. But she explains that she has her own stresses. Her brother is a troublemaker. Her family has its own decline. She frames it as, we are both just guests here. We're in the same boat.
And then she makes a practical offer. And this brings us back to the bird's nest soup.
Yes. Daiyu says, I can't ask for the bird's nest because the servants will talk. It's too much trouble.
She's afraid of the bureaucracy. She doesn't want to fill out the requisition form, so to speak.
Exactly. And Bao Chai says, don't worry, I'll get it from my house.
I'll handle it.
I will have my servants bring the bird's nest and the sugar to you directly.
She completely bypasses the Jia household bureaucracy.
She cuts out the nanny lays and the phoenixes and all the gossip. It's a direct line of support.
It's such a brilliant move. It saves Daiyu's health, but it also saves her face. She doesn't have to beg the managers for more food.
It creates a private alliance. In a house where everything is public, where every spilled bun and every cup of tea is political, Bao Chai creates a private space of safety for Daiyu.
So when we look at these two halves of the chapter, we have Nanny Lai managing the servants with history and face. And then we have Bao Chai managing her rival with empathy and soup.
It's a perfect parallel.
Yeah.
Nanny Lai knows how to work the system. Bao Chai knows how to work around the system.
And both are survival strategies.
Absolutely. The source material is telling us that in a high-pressure environment like this, wealth isn't enough. You need emotional intelligence.
Right.
You need to know when to punish a servant with 40 lashes to save a relationship with a superior. And you need to know when to stop fighting a rival and offer them a bowl of porridge instead.
It really challenges the way we think about soft skills. In Dream of the Red Chamber, these aren't soft skills. They are the iron laws of survival.
If you misread the room, you get fired. Or you get isolated. Or you get sick and die. The stakes are incredibly real. I want you to close your eyes for a second. Just picture this. It is late autumn. The sun's gone down, but it's not just dark. It's that heavy, sort of suffocating gloom where the air just feels thick.
Yeah.
And outside, the rain is just relentlessly hitting the bamboo leaves in the garden. It's that specific, lonely sound, you know? That click, tick, click that seems to get louder the quieter the house gets.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever felt like the weather was perfectly synchronized with your own sadness? Like the sky was conspiring to keep you in a funk?
That is the ultimate pathetic fallacy, isn't it? When the external world mirrors your internal state so perfectly, it feels, well, intentional.
So set the scene for us. Where is Daiyu physically when this all starts?
She's not in a good place. The text says she's barely eaten anything.
Just 2 bites of porridge.
Right. And she's lying in bed, feeling weak as the weather turns from this, dull sunset to a dark, rainy gloom. The source describes it as autumn rain pulsing.
In yin and yang uncertain. It's just bleak.
That phrase, yin and yang uncertain, that's doing a lot of heavy lifting. It's not just that it's raining, it's that the fundamental forces of the universe feel off-kilter.
Right. And practically because of that, she knows Daiyu, her cousin, her love interest, probably isn't coming to visit.
So she's totally isolated, trapped.
And what does a brilliant, poetic, slightly dramatic teenager do when she's bored and sad?
She leans into it.
She leans right in. She picks up a book, Yufu Zagao, and starts reading titles like Autumn Boudoir Lament and Parting Lament.
It's the literary equivalent of putting on a breakup playlist when you're already crying. You know you shouldn't, but it feels so good to wallow.
It does.
But for Daiyu, and this is crucial, she doesn't just wallow, she metabolizes that sadness into creation.
Yes. The source tells us she feels moved to write her own poem, modeled on spring river flowers and moon night.
But she gives it a twist, right?
Instead of spring, it's autumn. She calls it autumn window, a night of wind and rain. And the imagery, even in translation, is so intense. She just uses the word autumn over and over again. Autumn flowers, autumn grass, autumn lamp.
It's relentless. It's like she's building a cage out of the season. Everything she sees is just branded with decay. By repeating autumn, she's emphasizing that she can't escape it.
It's everywhere.
It's in the flowers, it's in the grass, it's even in the lamp inside her own room.
There's one line that really stands out to me. She asks, who sends the autumn wind and rain so quickly? It feels so personal, like the elements are conspiring to break her.
It does feel paranoid, doesn't it? but that's kind of Daiyu's worldview. She feels targeted by fate. And the lighting she describes, the glowing autumn lamp and the tearful candle, it's so cinematic you can just picture her alone in this flickering light.
While outside, the bamboo is just dripping against the window, and the boundaries here just dissolve. The cold smoke from the courtyard seems to drift inside. The rain sounds like tears.
There's that devastating line where she writes, "I don't know when the wind and rain will stop, but they've already taught the tears to soak the window gauze."
Oof. The idea that the rain is teaching her tears where to go.
She is merging with the storm. It's beautiful, but it's just so heavy.
So she puts her brush down, exhausted, ready for sleep. The mood is at absolute zero, but then, plot twist.
The mood shifts on a dime.
A servant announces, Daiyu is here.
And this entrance is just spectacular. It completely shatters that gloomy atmosphere we've been building.
He walks in looking like he just stepped off a fishing boat. He's wearing a huge bamboo hat, a ruoli, and a straw rain cape as sweetie.
And Daiyu just takes one look at him and she just bursts out laughing.
Calls him a fisherman.
Instantly. And that moment is so important. It shows how Daiyu is the antidote to her gloom. One second she's weeping, the next she's laughing at his ridiculous outfit.
But let's talk about the reveal, because this isn't just a costume.
No, it's a fashion statement.
Absolutely. He takes off the straw cape, and underneath he's just dripping in luxury. The text describes this semi-worn red silk jacket.
A green sash, oil green silk flowered trousers, and socks embroidered with gold.
Don't forget the shoes. Butterfly falling flower shoes.
But here's the detail I love. He's wearing wooden clogs, muji, over them.
Right, to keep his fancy embroidered socks from getting muddy. It's this perfect mix of high fashion and, practical rain gear.
And Daiyu has to explain that this gear, the cape and the hat, they're not just something he bought at the market.
No, they were a gift from the Prince of Beijing, the North Jing King.
So this isn't farmer's clothing.
No, it's designer rustic wear. It's clamping gear.
Exactly. It's aestheticized poverty for the super rich. And Daiyu points out the hat is actually this piece of engineering. The top part, the bamboo heart, you can pull it out.
So it becomes like a visor, right, for the snow?
Yeah, like a ring. He thinks it's the coolest thing ever.
He's so excited he offers to get a matching set for Daiyu.
And Here is where we get one of those accidental rom-com moments that this book does so well.
Daiyu immediately shoots it down. She says, I don't want it. If I wear that, I'll look like a fisherwoman.
And the implication is,
if he's the fisherman and she's the fisherwoman,
they're a matched set, a couple, like in a painting or a play. It implies this whole domestic partnership.
And she realizes what she just said immediately. The source says her face flew red. She's mortified.
She basically just proposed by accident.
Right. And she starts coughing to cover it up.
Yeah.
It's such a teenage moment.
It is. The slip of the tongue, the blush, the panic, it just underscores the tension between them.
And Daiyu, being Daiyu, either completely misses her embarrassment or maybe chooses to ignore it to spare her feelings. He just looks around and...
He spots the poem.
Yep. He reads it, loves it, of course. Daiyu tries to snatch it back and burn it.
It's too raw, too revealing.
But he says, burn it if you want. It's in my head now.
Smooth. Very smooth.
And then he checks the time. He pulls out a gold watch from his chest, described as the size of a walnut.
Which was, a very rare high-tech Western import. Another status symbol.
It's late, so he knows he has to leave, let her rest. But this whole departure sequence leads to, I think, the most touching moment in the entire chapter.
Oh, I agree. The lantern. This is the emotional core.
Daiyu's getting ready to go back out into the rain. His servants are with him, and they're holding a bright horn lantern.
So for context, a horn lantern is made from shaved animal horn. It's durable, but the light is pretty dim, kind of yellowish.
And Daiyu sees this, and she stops him. She insists he take her lamp, her glass-embroidered ball lamp.
And glass was precious. It was fragile. Her lamp is much, much brighter. But Daiyu hesitates. Why?
He's terrified of breaking it. He literally says, I'm afraid I'll slip and smash it. He knows how valuable it is.
And Daiyu's response, it's just everything. She scolds him. She asks, is the lamp worth money or is the person worth money?
Is the lamp worth money or is the person worth money? That is a mic drop moment.
It really is. In a world obsessed with objects, with jades and silks, she is explicitly prioritizing his safety over the object. She's saying, I don't care if the lamp breaks. I care if you fall.
She even nags him about his shoes. You are used to wearing those clogs. You might slip. Take the better light.
It's love expressed as fussing. It's care wrapped in a scold. And Daiyu's reaction is described with this incredible idiom. He has a slicing the stomach to hide the pearl temper.
Slicing the stomach to hide the pearl. That is graphic. What does that mean exactly?
It's a metaphor for totally screwed up priorities. Imagine you have a valuable pearl, and to hide it, you cut yourself open to stash it inside. You're sacrificing your life, the essential thing, to save an object.
So by worrying about breaking the lamp, he was risking his own safety. He was slicing his stomach to save the pearl.
Exactly. And once she points it out, he gets it and immediately takes the lamp.
The visual of him leaving is so vivid. You have these two old women in front with the dim horn lantern,
Two maids behind.
and Daiyu in the middle, holding onto a little maid's shoulder with that bright glass lamp just cutting through the rain.
It's a literal beacon of her care guiding him home.
So Daiyu leaves, and Daiyu's alone again. But not for long. Immediately, a woman arrives from Hengwu Court.
That's Baochai's place. Su Baochai, Daiyu's rival in love, but also her sister in the household.
And the servant brings this large package. It's high-quality bird's nest and some refined plum slice snowflower foreign sugar.
Right, this refers back to an earlier conversation where Baochai suggested bird's nest porridge for Daiyu's health. So Baochai didn't just say it, she delivered.
It's a very different kind of care. This is practical material support.
Totally. The servant says, Miss Baochai said eat this now and she'll send more later. Daiyu tries to get her to stay for tea, but the servant is in a huge rush.
Daiyu is sharp, though. She knows what's up. She asks, the weather is cold, the night is long. Are you guys having a night session to gamble?
And she nails it. The servant just laughs and admits it. I can't hide it from you. We sit together to gamble to relieve the boredom. And tonight, I'm the banker.
This is such a fascinating glimpse into the servants' lives, right? This whole other world running parallel to the masters.
And normally, Daiyu can be a bit prickly, a bit aloof. But here, she's surprisingly cool about it. She doesn't scold them.
No, quite the opposite. She acknowledges their hardship. She says, I won't keep you from making your fortune. And then she gives the woman several hundred coins.
Buy some wine to ward off the rain.
Such a classy move.
It shows this pragmatic, generous side of Daiyu. She understands the social contract, let them have their fun. It really contrasts with her image as just this fragile poet.
So the servant leaves, and now finally the door closes. Her maid, Purple Cuckoo, puts away the bird's nest, lowers the curtains.
And we are right back where we started. The solitude returns, but it's different now.
Right. She's had these interactions, the high of the romance, the warmth of the gift.
And the source gives us a little window into her thoughts. She feels grateful to Baochai, but that gratitude immediately turns into envy. She thinks, Baochai has a mother and a brother. I'm all alone.
It's the double-edged sword of kindness, isn't it? It reminds you of what you lack.
And then she thinks of Baoyu. The text says, Baoyu is close, but there is still suspicion.
Suspicion here means uncertainty, right?
Yeah.
About their future.
Yeah.
About whether they'll ever be allowed to marry.
Exactly. They had that moment, that lantern moment, but nothing is official. It's all so fragile.
She's listening to the rain on the bamboo and the plantain leaves. It's described as cold, penetrating the curtains.
And as the night watch drum sounds the fourth watch, which is very, very late, maybe 2 or 3 in the morning, she just cries herself to sleep.
It's heartbreaking. You have this whole roller coaster of an evening. The deep depression, the high of the visit, the warmth of the gift. But at the end of the day, the silence just wins.
It really highlights the tragedy of her character. She is surrounded by people, by luxury gold watches, glass lanterns, bird's nest soup, but none of it can cure that fundamental isolation.